Well, Pisces, it's October 2014. Thanks for joining me. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au, and it's a pretty significant month this month with some very powerful eclipses, some strong transits, and especially the transits as they're occurring in your horoscope. You might recall I mentioned, for those of you that have been coming, to those of you that are new, welcome, the transit of the karmic nodes through your 8th and 2nd sector. The 8th house is the house of transformation. And that's a sort of a long transit. So how do we determine when those sort of karmic responses are going to be active? Well, some of the faster moving planets, such as what you have right now, Venus and the Sun moving in that area as well, start to trigger that. So this is a big month for that. And at that, you've got the hard aspect, what we call the right angle aspect of the Sun, squaring Pluto up to the 4th. Then you've got the opposition of the Sun to Uranus on the 8th, and then straight after that, the lunar eclipse. All of these signifying, heralding some fairly important sorts of release. These are emotional releases. The 8th house of the horoscope is also sexual in nature. So I dare say some of you Pisceans who are very, very emotional at best, very psychic and sensitive, will be feeling the impact of these transits in this part of the horoscope. Now that's I guess the spiritual, metaphysical spin. When we look at the total lunar eclipse that takes place on the 8th in your 2nd sector, then we have to bring that down to the practical level too and talk about how this 2nd sector and the 8th sector, both of these sectors very powerfully activated, have a lot to do with money, with finances. Some of you are going to make some big decisions now over the way you earn money. This is not just about money and the concern you have about bills. And for those of you that have seen me speak about this before, I'm very big on the idea of loving what you do. If that genuine love and passion for what you do is there, you need not have any fear about the money coming in. Of course there are exceptions. I know you're going to say Van Gogh died penniless and he loved what he did. There were other extenuating circumstances. But if you're a fairly well-integrated person, but you're in a particular field of work that you just don't enjoy, you get up every morning. Look, I can tell you the yardstick by which you measure that. If you wake up in the morning, when you open your eyes, there's a sense of exhilaration. There's a sense of looking forward to what you're going to do. Then that's actually the energy that's bringing the money and the flow of wealth and abundance to you. These are the sorts of principles, I think, that are going to be activated this month for a lot of you. And do explore that. I mean, you can experiment with that by not even leaving the mundane, boring, lackluster jobs that you do. Here's the experiment. Stay with what you do for a month, even if it's the most boring job, and shift the attitude to a modality of love. Now that takes a pretty significant paradigm shift in your perspective on what you're doing. Yeah, I've tried it myself with washing dishes. I used to hate washing the dishes, but you can change your perspective and get into the feel of the dish, the texture of the suds. How exciting, you say. No, I'm serious. You've got to be childlike in the moment to explore that and to feel that, there's pleasure in anything that you do. And I think that's what this eclipse is signaling for you, the opportunity. Do that experiment. Because there's an old saying too, if you want to do what you really love, you've got to really love what you're doing. It's the love of what you're doing that attracts the doing what you love. And that's an equation, a life equation, a karmic equation that a lot of people don't understand. Fortunately, you're the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. You're the sign of spiritual awareness, spiritual liberation. If anyone's going to understand what I'm talking about here, it's you, because you have that inbuilt, you're hardwired for spiritual insight. So please just try that during this eclipse period and watch how that transforms your financial positioning, amongst other things. But I'm using this finance sector as a practical experiment for you, where you can see tangible results if you apply this. I know a lot of skeptics out there, what a whole lot of bullshit, Dadhichi, changing your mind. Well, actually, it's not a whole lot of bullshit, because if we study now, particle physicists are saying the same thing. The observer is, through the very act of observing and thinking about things, producing things. It is our thinking that produces all of these things. The cameras that I'm recording with, the watches I wear, the phones, these all began with a thought. Prior to any of these things existing in the real world, thought, the seed thought, the inceptive concept of what it is I want to develop or do or have is a thought. So I know I've laboured the point a little bit, and I've sort of digressed a little bit too in a way. Let's get back to it. Hold that thought. We'll look at the other transit there that is very important for you. Again, the 9th house is triggered on the 23rd, 24th, and the sun is also doing its partial solar eclipse in that 9th house. That's that higher mind, that's that educational process, bringing that down to the, my apologies, that's the 8th sector, the position of Venus and the sun, Venus moving to the 9th from the 8th, and the solar eclipse in the 8th house, again triggering the higher mind and your ability to transform these aspects of your life. I want to talk a little bit about the sexuality as well, because for some of you, it is not simply a physical means of release. I think you're going to start to see the deeper significance of sex as part of the spiritual and procreative process. Finally, the 26th of October, again on that same date, Mars, one of your better planets, moves into the 11th house, activating a whole new cycle of social activity. Wow, you're going to have a lot to talk about with your friends after that inflow of spiritual insight. If they're on your level, you're going to make a lot more friends. As for the other ones that don't understand anything that we've been talking about today, you're probably going to lose them, but so be it. It's probably for the best. And I'd be keen to hear back from you on that. You can always drop me a note here. And till next month, do have a safe one, a happy one, a healthy one. Don't forget astrology.com.au for a more extensive version of what I've been talking about here. Take care. Bye-bye.